Having capital does not make you a good business person. It just makes you a person with more money to lose. You do not start a business with capital. No. You are supposed to start a business with a customer. What you have to understand in a lot of the areas where people make a mistake is that they look at business, and because of your desire to be successful, which you should have that desire, you then forget that having capital does not make you a good business person. It just makes you a person with more money to lose. Right now, as we speak, it may be very difficult for you to stomach what I'm saying. But right now, as we speak, there are people with clothing under their bed, which they bought in China because they believed that clothes were going to sell. And now you have no one to sell them to. And you try to make them half price and no one is buying. And then you try to make them 90% off and still no one is buying. The only reason why you can't throw them in the bin is because it is too heart wrenching. But having capital does not make you a good business person. I'll give you this example, everybody. Capital is like a mountain. Okay? Capital is like a mountain. The more capital that you have, the higher the mountain you're going to fall off. So if you're still learning to walk, just like a little baby, you're definitely going to fall. But it is better that you fall on level ground. Why would I give you a mountain, Mount Everest, to fall off? You die. So what we're saying is that capital is simply the mountain that you're building to fall off. So it is better that since you're definitely going to fall, it is better that you fall from level ground than that you fall from the top of Mount Everest. Having capital does not make you a good business person. Understand that. So the primary thing as we get into our 50-day model or 50 days of using this model is don't start a business with capital, start a business with a customer. And I understand that you may say, where do I get the customer from? We'll get into all of that stuff. But please hear me, everybody. Please hear me. And it's so heart-wrenching that we can say, okay, yeah, join the How to Be Profitable in Business course, $300. Or join the Liberty Royale School of Business, $37 a month. I know it's just let me let me sort out my things first. 37, but you're willing to buy some machine from China from 1,500 that prints t-shirts that no one is ever going to buy. So people have lost so much money due to ignorance tax. They run away from information, saying information is expensive. But one thing that I can tell you, everybody, is that the cost of not having information is always much higher than the cost of information. How much money have you lost right now in business? Now, how much money have you invested in learning business? So there we're already talking about the character of business. A lot of people, they think that their desire to make it replaces, or rather it kind of covers up their lack in knowledge. But the Bible says that where your heart is, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So if you spend 4 years learning geography, and you spent 1 second learning business, you will know a lot about erosion and you will fail in business. And guess what? You did spend 4 years learning about geography. So don't try and blame the economy about how the economy is difficult and all of these things. No, if the economy was rewarding people for knowing weathering and erosion, believe me, you'll be very successful. The problem is it's not, right? Then when we then treat business as a faculty, you're like, no, business, I can't be taught. You just you just what, right? Honestly, the one thing that brings the greatest reward, the one thing that brings the greatest reward in your life is business. I'm talking about your earthly life is business. Because business has no upper limit, but a job does. I'm not saying quit your job, but what I'm saying is that the upside of business is infinity, right? Elon Musk just last week or 2 weeks ago, he became a trillionaire. Right. So of course, his value then fell because the SpaceX share, but he was literally a recorded trillionaire. So all I'm saying is that the upside of business, it's uncapped. But the amount of time that people spend in business, very little. They want magic to take place. So just lay your hands, say a few things, you'll be successful, you'll prosper, no one will ever bring you down, defeat you. So we don't start a business with capital.